The honorary degree will now be conferred. Mr. President, will you present the honorary degree candidate, Mark Angelo?
Mr. Chancellor, rivers are the planet's arteries, and for more than 30 years, Mark Angelo has championed their conservation. An educator who bridges the gap between theory and practice, and an advocate who inspires by his example, Mark Angelo has earned the admiration of people around the world. His enchantment with rivers began as a boy when he explored the waterways in the San Bernardino Mountains. In 1965, he visited British Columbia and was awestruck by the Fraser River. And 10 years later, to our lasting good fortune, he accepted a position to teach in the British Columbia Institute of Technology's Fish, Wildlife, and Recreation program, of which he is now the head. Since then, his mission has been to preserve and restore the Earth's rivers, and he has played an important role in raising the world's awareness about their plight. He has volunteered countless hours to issues that affect our waterways. Here at home, he is focused on the restoration of the Fraser River. In 1980, he founded BC Rivers Day, now an annual event that attracts some 75,000 people working to preserve our waterways. This was but the first in a long series of projects whose cumulative effect has been to build a community of British Columbians united in a common purpose. Mark's passionate advocacy extends well beyond the boundaries of this province. As a teacher, writer, and public speaker, he mobilizes people across Canada and beyond. His River World and Wild Water, Wild Earth presentations have informed and moved thousands of North Americans. He has published more than 250 articles addressing environmental issues. He was the catalyst in creating Canadian Rivers Day, and he was the founder and inaugural chair of World Rivers Day, which now attracts several million participants around the world. His wise counsel has been sought by many, including the BC Heritage Rivers Program and the Theodosia Rivers Coalition, both of which he chairs. He was the first non-governmental appointee to the Canadian Heritage Rivers System, and now as chair of the Rivers Institute at BCIT, he continues his leadership role in the protection of our waterways. In recognition of his unique achievements, he was installed a member of the Order of Canada in 2001. He is a recipient of the Order of British Columbia and the inaugural recipient of the United Nations Stewardship Award. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate of this university, I ask that you now confer upon Mark Angelo the degree Doctor of Science, honoris causa.
Mark Angelo, by virtue of the authority vested in me and in the Senate of this university, I hereby admit you to the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa. Mark Angelo will be hooded by Dr. John Driver, Vice President, Academics, and Ms. Kate Ross, the Registrar.
Mr. Chancellor, it is with pleasure that I now call on Dr. Mark Angelo for his convocation address. Dr. Angelo.
Well, thank you to the Chancellor, the President, our platform party, graduates and guests. I have to say it's wonderful to be here this morning, and I am honored and very grateful to receive this degree. But I'm also honored to be able to say a few words to the grads of 2009. Now, this is an amazing day in your life, and it is the culmination of an incredible amount of effort and determination on your part, as well as that of your family and others who have supported and encouraged you along the way. And for your loved ones that are here today, I'm sure they're excited, happy, proud, and perhaps in some cases relieved. So on a day like this, it is important to remember the contribution of families and friends because they have played a key role in your success. And to now be a university graduate, that makes you part of a small and select group, both in our country and around the world. And to have this credential under your belt will certainly help to prepare you for a successful and a rewarding career. But that same educational experience also enables you to play a broader role if you choose to. One in which you can help to change, influence, and shape your profession, your community, your province, and perhaps even the planet as a whole in a very positive way. And having been involved myself in post-secondary education for a long, long time, I've always believed that institutions are measured, perhaps more than anything else, by the type of contributions their graduates make to society. And the credential you receive today will allow you to do your part as an exemplary citizen of our country, just as many other past SFU grads have done. Now, as some of you now know, I've spent much of my life traveling down rivers. Rivers like the Mekong, the Nile, the Yangtze, the Amazon, and our very own Fraser. And these trips over the years have provided many memorable and even life-altering experiences. We've had some great adventures, some amazing cultural exchanges, moments of exhilaration, and times when we were just plain scared. But those same trips have also cultivated my deeply held view that rivers really are lifelines. In effect, they are the arteries of our planet. And I see a river like the Fraser as the heart and soul of British Columbia. Over the years, I've also come to see a lot of parallels between the characteristics of a river and the stages we all go through in our own lives. For example, if you were to travel to the Fraser's headwaters or birthplace near Mount Robson, you'd find a small and narrow stream that's just beginning its long and uncertain journey. But as you move downriver, the Fraser quickly gets bigger and faster. And as a paddler, just as in life, you'll run into problems at times. You'll hit big rapids, and your boat will no doubt flip on occasion. And when that happens, you have to right your raft, you get back in, and you carry on. And as the river finally moves out of the Fraser Canyon, through the lower mainland, and close to its end in the Strait of Georgia, it starts to move a little slower, and it becomes a little broader, just like many of us do in our older years, but you'd have to be my age to appreciate that. Well, looking out at the grads in the audience today, if I equated the stages of your life to, let's say, a map of the Fraser River, most of you would still be far upstream of Prince George. So you still have a long way to go and much to do. Now, in those exciting years that you have in front of you, I'd like to offer just a few quick thoughts. First, when your situation enables you, try to give back and get involved in your community. That's something I feel very strongly about. And I've been fortunate, as the president alluded to have spent a lot of time overseas. But those experiences have made me appreciate even more Just what an amazing part of the world that we live in. And we have much to be thankful for, no question. But the quality of life that we enjoy is by no means assured. We have our share of issues, concerns, and problems that have to be addressed. So there are lots of opportunities to give back, and there is great reward in community service. Secondly, love what you do and do it well. You will spend much of your life at work, and if you can find a way to combine a passion or an avocation or a personal interest with your profession, that's a wonderful thing to attain. Thirdly, be adventurous, at least within reason. And that's worth thinking about, because a few decades from now, when you look back in your life, if you have any regrets, it may not be so much about what you did do, but rather what you didn't. So as Mark Twain once said, and this is another boating analogy, throw off the bow lines and sail away from safe harbor. Explore, dream, discover. Fourthly, be respectful of our environment and our planet. Whether that be at home in your personal life or when you're at work, do whatever you can from a sustainability perspective. Be thoughtful of your actions and your ecological footprint. Be a leader and encourage your employer to do the same. Certainly we face some grave environmental challenges, no doubt. And yet when I see the interest and commitment of so many young people in environmental issues, I cannot help but believe that we'll find a way to deal with those. And finally, we have seen a lot of gloom out there in recent months, given the economic challenges that we're now facing. And it's easy to be pessimistic at times. Yet this past year, there were also lots of events and occurrences on the good news side of the ledger that you couldn't help but smile about, ranging from the inauguration of the first African-American president of the United States to a recent international survey listing Canada as the world's friendliest and most welcoming country to newcomers, something we should take pride in. And then there was that miraculous and safe landing of a commercial jetliner right in the middle of New York's Hudson River. And that famous photo of passengers standing on the wings of the plane in the middle of the river awaiting rescue is one that's hard to forget. And coming back to the election of Barack Obama, to me, that symbolized a clear choice of hope over fear. And that's to be admired. But that said, there's no question that the road ahead will be anything but smooth. And at times, it'll seem like some of those turbulent rapids on the Fraser that I mentioned earlier. And that's simply the nature of the times that we live in. But still, whenever I come to the top of Burnaby Mountain and I stroll through this amazing campus and I look out over Burrard Inlet, the North Shore Mountains, the Fraser River Delta, and the city that I think is the most beautiful in the world, it's hard not to be hopeful about what lies ahead. So remain positive and optimistic and keep that spark you now have. Times will get better and you'll achieve great things. Congratulations to you all. Thank you.